You wake up every morning with the same promise to yourself. Today will be different. Today you'll finally take that step, make that change, become the person you know you're capable of being. But by evening, you're scrolling through your phone, making excuses, telling yourself tomorrow will be the real start. You've become an expert at disappointing the one person who matters most, yourself. Stop for a moment and feel the weight of that truth. How many goals have you abandoned? How many dreams have you filed away under someday? You're not lazy. You're not lacking talent. You're trapped in a prison of your own making, and the bars are made of beliefs you don't even realize you carry. I've spent my entire life studying the minds of those who achieve extraordinary success and those who remain forever stuck. The difference isn't what you think. It's not about discipline or willpower or working harder. It's about something far more profound and far more dangerous. You are unconsciously sabotaging every goal you set because deep down you don't believe you deserve what you say you want. Your past failures have programmed an invisible ceiling in your mind. Every time you get close to breaking through, that inner voice whispers that people like you don't get to have lives like that. So, you procrastinate, you get distracted, you find a reason to quit just before the breakthrough comes. You've been living beneath your potential for so long that mediocrity feels like home. But imagine for a moment what your life would look like if you could finally break free from this cycle. Picture yourself not just achieving your goals, but becoming the type of person for whom success feels natural and inevitable. Someone who doesn't hope for change but commands it. Someone who doesn't try but decides. Someone who doesn't wish but creates. This isn't about motivation. Motivation fades. This is about transformation at the deepest level of your being. This is about rewiring the very beliefs that have kept you small and unleashing the power that's been dormant within you all along. What I'm about to share with you will shatter everything you think you know about why you fail and finally give you the tools to become unstoppable. But I warn you, this isn't comfortable knowledge. This will force you to confront the lies you've been telling yourself and the excuses you've been hiding behind. If you're ready to finally stop betraying your own potential and start living the life you were meant to live, then subscribe to this channel right now. Because what comes next will either change everything for you, or you'll find another excuse to stay exactly where you are. Number 1, you don't fail for lack of ability, you fail because of your mind. You tell yourself you failed because you didn't have enough time, not enough money, not enough connections, not enough talent. These are the comfortable lies we whisper to ourselves when dreams crumble at our feet. But I'm going to tell you something that will shake you to your core. You didn't fail because you lacked ability. You failed because your mind was programmed to fail before you even began. Every human being carries within them an invisible ceiling, a psychological boundary that determines not what they can achieve, but what they believe they deserve to achieve. This ceiling was built brick by brick through years of conditioning, past failures, and the voices of those who told you to be realistic. It sits there, silent and deadly, sabotaging every effort you make to rise above your current circumstances. Think of your mind as a powerful computer that's been infected with a virus. The virus doesn't destroy the computer's capabilities. It simply redirects its power towards self-destruction. Your mind possesses infinite creative potential, but that virus of limiting beliefs turns that same power against you. It creates procrastination when you should be acting. It generates doubt when you should be confident. It whispers excuses when you should be pushing forward. I once knew a man who dreamed of building his own business for 20 years. He had brilliant ideas, deep knowledge of his industry, and every practical resource he needed. Yet year after year, he remained trapped in the same job he despised. He would start a project with enthusiasm, work on it for weeks, then suddenly find reasons to abandon it. A family obligation, a health concern, a better opportunity that never materialized. He was a master of self-sabotage, and he didn't even know it. The breakthrough came when he finally understood that his real enemy wasn't external circumstances. It was the voice inside his head that whispered, "People like you don't build successful businesses. You're not smart enough, you're not lucky enough, you're not worthy enough." That voice had been planted there by a father who never believed in him, teachers who called him average, and a society that taught him to accept mediocrity as his fate. Your self-image is the most powerful force in your life. It acts as an internal thermostat, constantly working to keep your external results in harmony with your internal beliefs about yourself. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with money, you will unconsciously make decisions that keep you struggling. If you see yourself as someone who can't maintain relationships, you will sabotage every good relationship that comes your way. If you see yourself as someone who starts things but never finishes them, you will find elaborate ways to quit just before success arrives. This is why positive thinking alone never works. You cannot simply paste positive thoughts over a negative self-image and expect lasting change. The foundation must be rebuilt from the ground up. You must begin to see yourself not as you are, but as you have the power to become. The mind that created your current limitations cannot solve them with the same thinking. You must step outside the prison of your conditioned beliefs and begin to consciously construct a new identity. This requires the courage to question everything you've accepted as truth about your capabilities. Start by catching yourself in the act of self-sabotage. Notice when you procrastinate on important tasks. Notice when you seek distractions just as momentum begins to build. Notice when you make excuses for why you can't, rather than finding ways you can. These are not character flaws. They are symptoms of a programmed mind operating according to its limiting instructions. Every time you choose action over excuses, you're rewriting your psychological programming. Every time you push through discomfort instead of retreating to comfort, you're expanding your identity. Every time you refuse to accept the limitations your past has tried to impose on your future, you're claiming the power that was always yours. But here's what most people never understand. The same mental force that creates limitation can create limitless possibility. The same imagination that conjures reasons why you can't succeed can be redirected to visualize exactly how you will succeed. The same emotional intensity that fuels fear can be channeled into unstoppable determination. The difference between those who break through and those who break down is simple. The breakthrough crowd learned to become the master of their mind rather than its slave. They stopped accepting the first thought that entered their head as gospel truth. They began to question the voice of limitation and replace it with the voice of possibility. Your mind is either your greatest ally or your most dangerous enemy. The choice of which it becomes rests entirely in your hands. Stop blaming external circumstances for internal limitations. The moment you take full responsibility for the thoughts you think and the beliefs you hold, you reclaim the power to transform not just your results, but your entire existence. The prison door has always been unlocked. You just convinced yourself it wasn't. Number 2, the cruel truth. You don't want what you say you want. Look me in the eye and tell me about your biggest goal. Go ahead, paint me that picture of success you've been carrying around. Now let me ask you the question that will expose the lie you've been telling yourself. If you truly wanted what you say you want, why don't you have it yet? The answer cuts deeper than you're willing to admit. You don't want your goal. You want the fantasy of having achieved it without paying the price required to get there. You want the $1 million business without the sleepless nights? You want the perfect relationship without doing the emotional work? You want the transformed body without giving up the foods that comfort you when life gets hard. There's a universe of difference between wishing for something and burning for it. A wish is passive, floating through your mind like a pleasant daydream. But a burning desire is active, consuming, relentless. It wakes you up at night and drives you forward when every muscle in your body screams for rest. It makes you willing to sacrifice what you want right now for what you want most. Most people live their entire lives confusing a surface-level want with a soul-deep need. They mistake a casual interest for passionate commitment. They think that wanting something occasionally, when the mood strikes them or when they see someone else succeed, constitutes real desire. This is why their efforts feel forced, and why they abandon ship the moment resistance appears. I watched a woman spend 5 years talking about writing a book that would change people's lives. She had brilliant ideas, powerful stories, and genuine talent. Yet every time she sat down to write, she found herself checking email, organizing her desk, researching publishers she wasn't ready to contact. She attended writing workshops and bought courses on how to become an author. She did everything except the one thing that would make her an author. She didn't write. The truth she refused to face was simple. She loved the idea of being an author more than she was willing to endure the daily discipline of writing. She wanted the recognition, the impact, the satisfaction of holding her published book. But she didn't want the countless hours of wrestling with blank pages, the frustration of imperfect sentences, the vulnerability of putting her deepest thoughts into words that others might reject. This is the civil war raging inside most people. The dreaming self battles the comfortable self every single day. The dreaming self wants transformation, achievement, breakthrough. The comfortable self wants safety, predictability, the cozy familiarity of the known. And comfort almost always wins because comfort doesn't require you to change who you are. True desire demands sacrifice. It demands that you become someone different than who you are today. It demands that you give up behaviors, habits, relationships, and comforts that no longer serve your highest vision. Most people think they can have both. They think they can keep their current lifestyle and somehow add success on top of it like a decorative accessory. Here's what separates those who achieve from those who only dream. The achievers fell in love with the process, not just the outcome. They learned to find satisfaction in the daily actions that others consider drudgery. They developed an appetite for the discomfort that growth requires. They stopped trying to motivation their way to success and started disciplining their way there. If you want to know whether you truly desire something, ask yourself this question. Are you willing to be uncomfortable for an extended period of time to get it? Are you willing to give up immediate pleasures for long-term transformation? Are you willing to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it, especially when you don't feel like doing it? The moment you stop negotiating with your commitments, the moment you stop looking for the easy way, the moment you embrace the price that must be paid, everything changes. Your casual interest transforms into consuming passion. Your scattered energy becomes laser-focused power. Your weak hopes become unshakable faith. But this transformation requires you to be brutally honest about what you're truly willing to sacrifice. Stop lying to yourself about wanting things you're not prepared to work for. Either raise your commitment to match your dreams or lower your dreams to match your commitment. The middle ground is where dreams go to die. What you truly want will require you to become someone you've never been before. The question is not whether you're capable of that transformation. The question is whether you want it badly enough to begin. Number 3, your environment is silently sabotaging you. You think you're in control of your thoughts, but every day you're being programmed by forces so subtle you don't even notice them. The conversations you have, the content you consume, the people you spend time with, the physical spaces you inhabit. All of it is shaping your mind, influencing your decisions, and determining your destiny more powerfully than your conscious will. Environment is the invisible hand that molds human behavior. Like water gradually carving through solid rock, your surroundings are constantly carving patterns into your consciousness. A discouraging comment from a family member doesn't just hurt in the moment, it plants a seed of doubt that grows in the darkness of your subconscious, influencing decisions you'll make weeks or months later. Most people underestimate the devastating power of negative environmental influences. They think they're strong enough to resist the constant drip of limitation, criticism, and mediocrity that surrounds them. They believe their determination can overcome the programming of their daily environment. This is a dangerous delusion that keeps millions trapped in lives far beneath their potential. Your mind is like a garden. What grows there depends entirely on what seeds are planted and what conditions are maintained. If you plant seeds of ambition in soil poisoned by doubt, cynicism, and small thinking, your dreams will struggle to survive. If you surround those seeds with people who question your goals, circumstances that reinforce your limitations, and inputs that feed your fears, you shouldn't be surprised when your efforts wither and die. I knew a man who had a brilliant business idea that could have changed his life. He was excited, energized, ready to take massive action. But he made the fatal mistake of sharing his vision with people who had never taken risks, never built anything, never stepped outside the safety of mediocrity. His brother told him he was being unrealistic. His co-workers warned him about the dangers of entrepreneurship. His neighbors shared stories of people who had failed at similar ventures. Within weeks, his burning excitement had cooled to lukewarm interest. Within months, he had convinced himself that his idea wasn't as good as he originally thought. He returned to his comfortable routine, accepting the safety of his ordinary life. He never realized that his dream hadn't died from lack of potential. It had been slowly poisoned by the toxic environment he chose to keep it in. The people you spend time with either lift you up or pull you down. There is no neutral ground. If you're surrounding yourself with people who complain about their circumstances but do nothing to change them, you're programming yourself for complaint and inaction. If you're spending time with people who make excuses for their limitations, you're training your mind to accept excuses as valid responses to challenges. But here's what few people understand. Environment isn't just about people. It's about everything that enters your consciousness, the news you watch that fills your mind with fear and negativity. The social media feeds that trigger comparison and inadequacy. The physical spaces that either inspire excellence or reinforce mediocrity. The books you read, the music you listen to, the conversations you participate in, all of it is programming your mental computer with instructions for success or failure. You must become ruthlessly selective about what you allow into your mental environment. This means having difficult conversations with people who constantly drain your energy and discourage your growth. It means changing the channel when the news shifts from information to fear-mongering. It means unfollowing social media accounts that make you feel inadequate or distracted from your goals. Replace toxic inputs with nourishing ones. Seek out books written by people who have achieved what you want to achieve. Listen to interviews with individuals who have overcome the challenges you're facing. Join communities of people who are building the kind of life you want to live. Fill your physical space with reminders of your vision and symbols of your commitment. The transformation begins when you realize that you have complete control over your environment, even when you feel like you don't. You can't always choose your family, your coworkers, or your immediate circumstances, but you can always choose how much influence you allow those factors to have over your thinking and decision-making. Start by conducting an environmental audit of your life. Look honestly at the people, places, and inputs that occupy the majority of your time and attention. Ask yourself whether each element is contributing to your growth or reinforcing your limitations. Then begin the systematic process of eliminating what harms you and adding what helps you. Remember this fundamental truth. You become what you're consistently exposed to. If you want to transform your results, you must first transform your environment. Create conditions that make success more likely than failure, growth more natural than stagnation, excellence more comfortable than mediocrity. Your environment is either working for you or against you. There is no middle ground. Choose wisely, because your future depends on it. Number 4, lack of clarity is the biggest hidden enemy. You're fighting a war you don't even know you're losing. Every day you wake up with good intentions and genuine desire to improve your life. You feel motivated, ready to take action, determined to make progress, but by evening, you've accomplished little of real importance. You've been busy, but not productive. Active, but not effective. The enemy that defeated you is so subtle you never saw it coming. Its name is lack of clarity. Vague goals create vague results. When you say you want more money, your mind has no idea what you're actually asking for. More money than what? How much more? By when? For what purpose? Your subconscious mind requires specific instructions to produce specific outcomes. When you give it fuzzy directions, it delivers fuzzy results or no results at all. Most people think they have clear goals, but what they actually have are wishes disguised as intentions. I want to be successful is not a goal. I want to lose weight is not a goal. I want to improve my relationship is not a goal. These are vague aspirations that provide no roadmap for action and no measurement for progress. Without clarity, your mind defaults to its primary directive, keeping you safe. And safety in the mind's programming means avoiding risk, change, and uncertainty. When your goals lack specificity, your mind interprets this as a sign that you're not really committed to them. So it creates subtle resistance, procrastination, distraction, analysis paralysis. These aren't character flaws. They're natural responses to unclear direction. I once worked with a woman who spent 3 years frustrated by her lack of progress toward financial freedom. She read books, attended seminars, tried different strategies, but nothing seemed to work. When I asked her to define exactly what financial freedom meant to her, she couldn't answer. After an hour of questioning, we discovered that her goal was to save enough money to take a year off work to write a novel. The specific amount she needed was $25,000. The moment she defined her goal with precision, everything changed. She knew exactly how much she needed to save each month. She could track her progress with mathematical certainty. She could make specific decisions about spending and earning based on this clear target. Within 18 months, she had reached her goal and was living her dream of being a full-time writer. Clarity is not just about knowing what you want. It's about knowing why you want it, when you want it, how you'll know when you've achieved it, and what specific actions you'll take to get there. It's about breaking down overwhelming dreams into manageable daily tasks. It's about creating a bridge between where you are and where you want to be, built one specific action at a time. When your mind lacks clear direction, it becomes a prisoner of circumstances. It reacts to whatever demands the loudest attention: email notifications, social media updates, other people's emergencies. The tyranny of the urgent overwhelms the importance of what truly matters. You spend your days responding to life instead of creating it. But when you have crystal clear objectives, your mind becomes a powerful focusing device. It filters through the noise and chaos of daily life to identify opportunities that serve your goals. It notices resources, connections, and possibilities that were always there but previously invisible. It transforms from a scattered, reactive mechanism into a precision instrument of achievement. The process of creating clarity begins with brutal honesty about what you actually want, not what you think you should want or what others expect you to want. It requires you to dig beneath surface desires to discover the deeper motivations driving your ambitions. It demands that you translate abstract concepts into concrete, measurable outcomes. Start by choosing one area of your life where you want to see significant improvement over the next 90 days. Write down exactly what success would look like in specific, measurable terms. Include deadlines, quantities, and criteria that would let you know without question whether you've succeeded or failed. Then break that goal down into monthly milestones, weekly targets, and daily actions. Create a system that tells you each morning exactly what you need to accomplish that day to stay on track toward your larger objective. Remove the guesswork, eliminate the decisions, make progress automatic. When you know exactly where you're going and exactly what you need to do to get there, motivation becomes unnecessary. You don't need to feel like taking action when action is simply the next logical step in a predetermined sequence. You don't need inspiration when you have specific instructions. Clarity cuts through confusion like a sword through fog. It transforms overwhelming challenges into manageable tasks. It converts anxious energy into focused power. It turns dreams into plans and plans into reality. The moment you get serious about defining what you want with precision, you begin to attract the resources, people, and opportunities needed to make it happen. The universe responds to clarity with clarity. Vagueness breeds more vagueness. Specificity creates specificity. Stop wandering through life hoping you'll stumble onto success. Get clear about your destination, chart your course, and begin the journey with absolute certainty about where you're heading. Number 5. You're addicted to immediate results. You live in a world that has rewired your brain for instant gratification. One click and your food arrives, one swipe and entertainment begins, one tap and information appears. This culture of immediacy has infected your relationship with success, creating an addiction so powerful it destroys your ability to build anything meaningful. You start a new project with excitement and energy. For the first week, maybe even the first month, you're consistent and committed. But when the results don't match your timeline, when progress feels slower than promised, when the gap between effort and outcome stretches longer than your patience, you begin to question everything. Maybe this isn't working. Maybe you're doing it wrong. Maybe you should try something else. This is the moment where most people break. Not because they lack ability, but because they've been conditioned to expect rapid transformation in a world where real transformation takes time. They quit businesses before they have a chance to succeed. They abandon fitness routines before their body has time to change. They give up on relationships before trust has time to develop. The most destructive lie of our time is that success should come quickly to those who work hard. This lie keeps millions trapped in a cycle of starting, stopping, and starting again. They become serial beginners, always looking for the faster path, the easier method, the secret shortcut that will deliver results without requiring the patience that all meaningful achievement demands. Real success operates on a different timeline than your impatience. Like a bamboo plant that shows no visible growth for years while developing massive root systems underground, your efforts are working even when you can't see progress. Every action you take, every day you show up, every moment you choose discipline over distraction, you're building something beneath the surface that will eventually break through with explosive force. I knew a man who decided to build a consulting business after 20 years in corporate America. He had deep expertise, valuable knowledge, and a clear plan. He launched his website, started networking, and began creating content. After 3 months with only 2 small clients, he started doubting his strategy. After 6 months with slow but steady growth, he considered going back to his old job. After 9 months, when his income was still far below his corporate salary, he was ready to quit. But something made him persist for just 3 more months. In that 12th month, everything changed. A piece of content he had written 6 months earlier was discovered by a major industry leader who shared it with his network. 3 large clients hired him within 2 weeks. His business income surpassed his corporate salary and continued growing rapidly from there. The breakthrough didn't happen because he suddenly got better at what he was doing. It happened because he had reached the compound effect tipping point where all his previous efforts began to multiply and accelerate. If he had quit at month 11, he would have declared his business a failure. But success was only 4 weeks away from his worst moment. This is the pattern that separates achievers from dreamers. Achievers understand that success is not a linear progression, but an exponential curve. The early stages feel slow, frustrating, sometimes pointless. But those who persist through the valley of patient effort reach the mountain peak of compound results. Your addiction to immediate results is stealing your future. Every time you quit a worthy pursuit because progress feels too slow, you're trading long-term transformation for short-term comfort. Every time you abandon a goal because it's taking longer than expected, you're reinforcing the very impatience that keeps success beyond your reach. The antidote to this addiction is developing what I call blind discipline. This is the ability to continue taking right action regardless of current results. It's showing up when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. It's trusting the process when the process doesn't seem to be working. It's understanding that your job is to plant seeds and tend the garden, not to control when the harvest comes. Start measuring progress differently. Instead of only tracking outcomes, track consistency. Instead of only celebrating results, celebrate the discipline that will eventually create results. Keep a record of daily actions taken, promises kept to yourself, moments when you chose long-term benefit over short-term pleasure. Train your mind to find satisfaction in the process rather than just the outcome. Learn to love the daily practice that builds mastery. Develop an appreciation for incremental improvement that compounds over time. Find joy in becoming the type of person who does what needs to be done, regardless of how they feel about doing it. Remember that everything worthwhile takes longer than you want it to take and requires more effort than you originally estimated. This is not a bug in the system. This is the system. The delay between effort and reward is what separates those who achieve extraordinary things from those who achieve ordinary things. The moment you stop measuring your worth by immediate results and start measuring it by consistent effort, you'll begin building something that lasts. The moment you fall in love with the daily grind, instead of just dreaming about the eventual glory, you'll join the small percentage of people who actually see their dreams become reality. Patience is not passive waiting. Patience is active persistence. It's continuing to take right action while wrong circumstances still surround you. It's the ultimate demonstration of faith in yourself and your ability to create the future you envision. Your breakthrough is coming, but it will arrive on its timeline, not yours. Your job is to be ready when it does. Number 6. You don't decide, You merely try? Listen to the language you use when you talk about your goals. I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to start a business. I'm trying to improve my relationship. That single word, trying, reveals everything about why you're not succeeding. You haven't made a decision. You've made a wish with an escape route built in. There's a universe of difference between trying and deciding. When you try, you give yourself permission to fail. When you decide, you eliminate failure as an option. When you try, you keep one foot in your old life and one foot in your new life. When you decide, you burn the bridges behind you and commit completely to moving forward. Most people live their entire lives in the limbo of trying. They try to change their habits while keeping all their old patterns intact. They try to build new relationships while holding on to toxic ones. They try to create financial abundance while maintaining a poverty mindset. They want transformation without commitment, results without responsibility, success without sacrifice. A real decision kills every other option. It eliminates Plan B, Plan C, and every backup strategy that keeps you from fully committing to Plan A. It creates an internal obligation so powerful that excuses become impossible and obstacles become merely problems to be solved rather than reasons to quit. When you truly decide, your entire nervous system reorganizes itself around that decision. Your mind begins to notice opportunities it previously overlooked. Your energy focuses on solutions rather than problems. Your actions align with your commitment automatically, without the constant need for motivation or willpower. I watched a woman spend 5 years trying to quit smoking. She tried nicotine patches. She tried gradual reduction. She tried various apps and programs. She had good weeks and bad weeks, periods of success followed by periods of relapse. She was sincere in her efforts, but she had never actually decided to become a non-smoker. She was trying to quit smoking while remaining a smoker who just happened to not be smoking at the moment. Then one day, something shifted. She didn't try to quit smoking. She decided she was no longer a person who smoked. She threw away her cigarettes, her lighters, her ashtrays. She changed her daily routines to avoid triggers. She told everyone in her life about her new identity as a non-smoker. She never smoked again because smoking became inconsistent with who she had decided to be. The same principle applies to every area of your life. You can try to be successful, or you can decide to be successful. You can try to be healthy, or you can decide to be healthy. You can try to be the kind of person who follows through on commitments, or you can decide to become that person and let every action flow from that decision. Indecision masquerades as perfectionism. You tell yourself you're still researching, still planning, still preparing, but what you're really doing is avoiding the moment when you must choose one path and accept responsibility for wherever it leads. You're trying to maintain the illusion of unlimited options while taking no meaningful action toward any of them. The fear beneath indecision is the fear of making the wrong choice. But here's what successful people understand that others don't. There is no perfect choice. There is only the choice you make and what you do with it afterward. A good decision executed with total commitment will always outperform a perfect decision executed with half-hearted effort. Decision-making is a skill that atrophies with disuse. Every time you postpone a choice, you make future choices more difficult. Every time you avoid commitment, you weaken your capacity for commitment. Every time you choose to try instead of deciding, you reinforce the pattern of hesitation that keeps you stuck. The remedy is to start making firm decisions about small things. Choose what you'll eat, where, do with your time, and stick to those choices without second-guessing yourself. Build your decision-making muscle with low-stakes choices so it's strong when high-stakes moments arrive. Pick one goal that you've been trying to achieve for longer than you care to admit. Right now, in this moment, stop trying and start deciding. Decide not just what you want to accomplish, but who you want to become. Decide not just what you'll do, but what you'll no longer tolerate from yourself. Write down your decision in specific terms. Share it with people who will hold you accountable. Change your environment to support your new identity. Take immediate action that demonstrates to yourself and the world that this decision is real and irreversible. When challenges arise, and they will, you won't need to redecide. You won't need to rekindle motivation. You won't need to find willpower. You'll simply act in accordance with the decision you've already made because that's who you've decided to be. The moment you transition from trying to deciding, everything changes. Your energy becomes focused instead of scattered. Your actions become consistent instead of sporadic. Your results become inevitable instead of accidental. Stop trying to change your life. Decide to change it. The difference between these two approaches is the difference between hoping for success and guaranteeing it. Number 7, without a higher purpose, everything collapses. You can have the clearest goals, the strongest discipline, and the most supportive environment, but if your pursuits lack a deeper meaning, they will crumble at the first sign of serious resistance. Surface-level motivation cannot sustain you through the inevitable valleys of difficulty that every meaningful achievement requires you to traverse. Most people set goals based on what they think will make them happy, impressive, or secure. They want the money, the recognition, the lifestyle, the status symbols that represent success in their culture. But these external motivations are weak foundations for lasting achievement. They provide excitement at the beginning, but offer no strength when the journey becomes demanding. A goal without a compelling why is like a house built on sand. It looks impressive from the outside, but it cannot withstand the storms that all ambitious pursuits must weather. When obstacles arise, when progress slows, when sacrifices become painful, you need something deeper than personal gain to keep you moving forward. The most powerful goals are those that connect your individual growth to something larger than yourself. They link your personal transformation to the service of others, the betterment of your family, the advancement of a cause you believe in. They give you a reason to persist that transcends your temporary comfort or discomfort. I knew a man who struggled for years to build discipline around exercise and healthy eating. He tried numerous fitness programs, hired trainers, joined gyms, but nothing stuck. His motivation was purely personal. He wanted to look better, feel better, live longer. These were reasonable goals, but they weren't strong enough to override his preference for comfort when willpower ran low. Everything changed when his 5-year-old daughter was diagnosed with a rare condition that required her to have multiple surgeries over several years. Suddenly, his health wasn't just about him. He needed energy to support his family through this crisis. He needed strength to be present for every medical appointment, every recovery period, every moment his daughter needed him. He needed to model resilience and commitment for his child, who was learning to face her own challenges with courage. With this deeper purpose driving him, exercise stopped being something he had to force himself to do. It became something he couldn't afford not to do. Healthy eating wasn't a sacrifice anymore. It was an investment in his family's future. He lost 40 pounds and gained a level of physical and mental strength he had never possessed, not because his techniques changed, but because his reasons changed. Purpose transforms pain from an enemy into an ally. When you're driven by something bigger than your own immediate gratification, discomfort becomes a small price to pay for progress. Setbacks become temporary inconveniences rather than reasons to quit. Challenges become opportunities to prove your commitment rather than excuses to abandon it. The process of discovering your deeper purpose requires honest examination of what truly matters to you. Not what you think should matter, not what others expect to matter, but what actually moves you at the deepest level. It might be providing security for your family, creating something that outlasts your lifetime, solving a problem that affects people you care about, or becoming an example of what's possible for others who share your struggles. Your purpose doesn't have to be grandiose or world-changing. It just has to be real and meaningful to you. A mother working to create financial stability for her children has a purpose as powerful as an entrepreneur building a company to employ thousands. The scale doesn't matter. The authenticity does. When you connect your goals to your purpose, you tap into a source of energy that doesn't depend on circumstances, emotions, or external validation. You develop what I call unshakable resolve, the ability to continue moving forward regardless of how you feel or what obstacles appear in your path. This is why some people seem to possess supernatural persistence, while others quit at the first difficulty. It's not that they're born with more willpower or face fewer challenges. It's that they're driven by something that makes temporary discomfort irrelevant compared to the larger vision they're working to fulfill. Take time to examine your current goals and ask yourself the difficult questions. Why do you really want what you say you want? How will achieving this goal allow you to serve something beyond yourself? What would become possible for others if you succeeded? Who would benefit from your transformation besides you? If you can't answer these questions with emotional conviction, you've identified why your efforts feel forced and why your progress feels inconsistent. Goals driven by ego, fear, or comparison rarely produce lasting satisfaction even when achieved. Goals driven by purpose become self-sustaining and create fulfillment throughout the journey, not just at the destination. Write down your current most important goal. Then write down at least 3 ways that achieving this goal would benefit people other than yourself. If you struggle to find these connections, either your goal needs to change or your understanding of its deeper significance needs to develop. Remember that the strongest trees have the deepest roots. Surface motivations produce surface results. But when your actions are rooted in purpose that connects you to something larger than yourself, you become capable of achieving things that once seemed impossible. Your goals are not just about getting what you want. They're about becoming who you need to be to serve the larger story your life is meant to tell. When you understand this, everything changes. Your commitment deepens, your resilience strengthens, and your results become inevitable. You stand now at the threshold between who you were and who you have the power to become. The invisible chains that held you back are no longer invisible. The unconscious patterns that sabotaged your progress are no longer unconscious. The lies you told yourself about why you couldn't succeed are no longer believable. This is the moment when everything shifts, not because the world around you has changed, but because the world within you is awakening to its true capacity. You see now that your greatest enemy was never circumstances, competition, or lack of resources. It was the version of yourself that accepted limitation as permanent and excuses as valid. The person you were yesterday operated from scarcity, fear, and the desperate need for certainty before taking action. The person you are becoming operates from abundance, courage, and the willingness to act in spite of uncertainty. This transformation doesn't happen overnight, but it begins with a single moment of recognition. This moment, think of a seed buried in dark soil. It knows nothing of sunlight, yet something within its core drives it to grow toward what it has never seen. It doesn't question whether it deserves to become a tree. It doesn't worry about whether the conditions are perfect. It simply begins the process of becoming what it was designed to be. You are that seed. The darkness you've experienced wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to awaken the unshakable force within you that refuses to remain buried. Every setback prepared you for this breakthrough. Every failure taught you what success requires. Every moment of doubt was building the strength you need for unwavering faith. If you're ready to continue this journey of transformation, to keep discovering the depths of your own power, then join others who are walking this same path. Subscribe now, because what we explore together will reshape not just what you achieve, but who you become in the process of achieving it. The seed has cracked open. What grows from here depends on the choices you make in the days ahead.